Good morning. We are the Group 4.
And we are going to perform experiment number 4 entitled Designing and Making of Concrete Beam Samples.
The equipment and materials that we are going to use are the following: beam molds, shovels, trowels, mallet, cement, sand, coarse aggregate, and water.
For the procedure, we adopted the absolute volume method as outlined in the American Concrete Institute or ACI Standard 211.1 Class B of Table 405.2. First step is to record the length of the beam mold and calculate the volume to determine the number of materials that will be needed. Using the Class B model of Table 405.2 of the DPWH Blue Book, obtain a thoroughly mixed concrete sample. Carefully sieve the fine aggregate sample, and using a shovel, also collect an amount of coarse aggregate sample. Mix the two aggregate samples thoroughly along with the cement. Don't forget to apply concrete mold oil to the beam mold. Brush a decent amount of oil to the mold, since this will prevent the mixed concrete sample from sticking into the mold. After mixing the concrete sample and applying oil to the mold, 2 roughly equal layers of the mixed concrete sample should be added into the mold, with the second layer slightly overfilling it. Till the third layer is finished, repeat the procedure with the other empty beam mold.
Strike the mold 10 to 15 times using a mallet and spade along the sides and end using a trowel. According to ASTM C31, since the mold's width is greater than 200 millimeters, we divided it into 3 layers, with each layer not exceeding 150 millimeters. Next step is to strike off to a flat surface using a float or a trowel. After consolidation of the concrete, Use a handheld float or trowel to strike off the top surface to the required tolerance to produce a flat, even surface. Then, we proceed to the initial curing. Lastly, cure the samples for 28 days to obtain compressive strength of at least 99%. The curing was handled by our lab technician, Mr. Carl Fallares.
After we fill and analyze our datasheet, these are the results of our experiment number 4.
After we determined the dimension of the beam, we found out that the beam span of the mold is 0.53848 meters and the width and the depth of the mold is 0.1524 meters. If we multiply these dimensions, we will find the volume of the concrete or the beam mold, and after that we should multiply it by 3 since we are using 3 samples in the experiment, and the overall result is 0.0375 cubic meters for the 3 samples. After we calculated the volume of our mold and adding the volume of the other group's mold or samples, we found out that the cement we will be using is 19.24 kilograms and the coarse aggregates is 38.49 kilograms and the fine aggregates is 29.87 kilograms. These are the amount of components we used in order to create our concrete, and after we mixed thoroughly these 3 materials, we added 11.1592 or approximately 11 kilograms of water to mix or to bind the concrete. So after we place the concrete to the mold, this is the overall appearance or look of our concrete sample when placed to the mold and ready for curing. The concrete beam sample needs to have a 28 days of curing period, and since we are still not able to finish the curing period of the beam, we are yet to determine the strength of the beam or to get its compressive strength. So we just leave this blank for now since we are not able to perform these tests yet. But in order to give you an idea on what is the expected results after we do the compressive strength in our sample, this table will show you that the expected compressive strength is around 30 to 90 megapascal in terms of its compressive strength. So in conclusion, this experiment showed the Class B of the Table 405.2 methods of concrete mix from the DPWH Blue Book. This laboratory test is performed to allow students to design and use the proper standard in making concrete sample. And after the compressive strength was determined from the sample, if a beam attains a minimum compressive strength of 3.8 megapascal, it signifies that it has attained the minimum compressive strength in line with the DPWH Blue Book.